Good morning. Welcome everyone to the AIC campus and our homecoming weekend. My name is Lou Izzy. I'm the Vice President for Athletics here at AIC. Hope everyone is doing well. Today is a very special day for us as we dedicate our newly renovated men's basketball locker room in honor and memory of Frank Oppedisano, class of 1967. Frank was a co-captain of our basketball team and a member of AIC's first two men's basketball tournament teams. I never had the pleasure of meeting Frank, but by looking out here today at all of you, I know he touched many lives. As one of his former AIC basketball teammates described him, Frank was a soft-spoken gentleman who can jump to the moon. Of course, Frank was much more than that. From what I hear, he was a great family man and a loyal friend who dedicated 38 years of his life to teaching history and coaching basketball at Palmer High School. I also hear that Frank just loved the Red Sox and the New York Football Giants. So I'm sure Frank is up in heaven right now, and he's really excited about the Red Sox and not so excited about the Giants. Before I introduce today's speakers, I do want to acknowledge a few folks. First, it is my true pleasure to welcome Frank's high school sweetheart and his wife of 52 years, Lorette Oppedisano. I also want to welcome Frank's children, Diane Davitt, Denise Wirtz, Darlene Oppedisano, and Frank Oppedisano Jr. and their families. And finally, a very special welcome to all of Frank's teammates, classmates, and dear friends who are joining us here today. I want to sincerely thank you for your generous support of our locker room renovation project. And in particular, I want to acknowledge two of Frank's former teammates and good friends, Paul Procopio and Coach Jim Calhoun, for making this day possible. And speaking of Coach Calhoun, we have invited him here today to say a few words about Frank. As you know, Coach Calhoun has had a profound and lasting impact here at AIC and, of course, in the world of college basketball. Coach Calhoun is a member of the AIC Athletics Hall of Fame, and he currently serves the college as a trustee. He is also a member of the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame after an illustrious career as a Division I coach, where he won 873 games and 3 national championships. He is currently the head coach at the University of St. Joseph in West Hartford. Please welcome Coach Jim Calhoun.
Good morning. I'm not necessarily appropriately dressed. Well, when I was here, I wasn't ever appropriately dressed. But regardless, because I had practice. And someone said, do you need it? Coach, what do you think? Do we need it? The kids think 2 years ago, last year was 3 games for us. We didn't have any games. We were 26-3. You know what our kids think we are today? 26-0. I try and tell them, it starts over again. We haven't won a game yet. That's the players back there, by the way. Couple of things. When I walked through this building today, I drove around, thank you. Talk to an official the same way. You know the guys that are, who are those guys? Oh, those are the guys we try to help all the time. Frank was one of the greatest referee helpers in God's creation. From kicking the ball and not being able to find it one time, held up the game. And yet he was an incredibly distinguished person. But getting back to it, when I first walked in here, and I remember Frankie coming here. Frank was at that time, I think, a year, most everybody was a year younger. I didn't come up here for 2 years, went to UMass. My dad had died. I went and worked as a stone cutter for 2 years. And someone said, gee, you seem to have a little edge. Really? You think getting up at 5 in the morning doing that will give you the edge? What it did, it got me away from, in a good way, UMass, which is just fine, playing for Coach Lehman. Instead, I came to a place that was the best thing that ever happened in my life. Small school, people taking care of people, meeting Donnie and Henry, and Neil, and Geller, and all the other different people that I'm meeting, and playing at a place that was true love for every single student. Some days that love, like I tell my players, doesn't seem like real love, but it's love regardless. And I think that when I think back to Frank, and we walked into this brand new building, 66 I think it was, and we went to the NCAAs that year, and it just once again altered my life, that people were reaching out, professors, Professor Duffy, and I can go Sprinthal, and all the different people that I met. And I remember talking with Frankie about this, and he said, I went to Cathedral, he was a hell of a player, a hell of a competitor, more importantly, he was a hell of a man. And very simply, we found something that we both needed. And here's a guy from Boston, a guy from Springfield. That's the only place that he's from. Does everybody understand that? Frank Oppedisano, not Hampton, not Willimantic. He's from South End of Hartford. I drove through it today just to make sure that everyone knew that. But getting back, more importantly, to Frank, he really, really was a special guy. You know what's great? When you meet, quote, ordinary people who do extraordinary things. And that's who Frank was. 38 years teaching history. He made history. 25 years as a coach. 3 times going up to the finals and having that son of a bitch, Paul Procopio, beat him. That's. Oh, I'm sorry. I lost myself. Paul, I'm not saying anything, but I've got to break the news. He doesn't like you. Even now, he says, how's that friend of yours, Procopio, doing? Son of a bitch. I'm sorry. But when I met Frank, and he came a year after I came up here, he was just a special guy. And you said, is it how loud he was? No. How dignified he was? Yeah. How well he jumped, how he played. What he was, the basketball player, a glue guy. Everybody needs a glue guy. I've been coaching for 50-something years now, and glue guys are important. The stats mean nothing. All you want to do is win, be a great teammate, and be a great person. You know, I was looking to some of the things I remember about Frank, and once again, with Lorette here, I won't say all of them. Benjamin's at night, but 38 years a teacher, 25 years head coach. I've got a young brother, and after my dad died, he was 5. I'm giving this story to give you an idea of what I think, what Frank really did. I said to him one day, you're so lucky. And again, he was more like a son to me for about 10 years. And I always remember, I said, just so fortunate in many ways, because you changed lives. He gave me a laugh, and he says, yeah, you do it every day. And that's who Frank Oppedisano was. He changed lives. By the fact he hates the Patriots, we had some discussions about that. I think there were some verbs, nouns, adjectives brought into that discussion. But his love of the Yankees, some things that I just remember him doing. Being from the South End, only the South End. Hated the Patriots. Oh, he hated slow golf. Excuse the language, but why the F do we got to play so slow? Frank, the other people are on the green. We're going to have a tough time getting into them. The love of Lorette, the kids. When he talked about his kids and 7 grandchildren, 7 grandchildren, special. For a guy that had this eloquence about him, and every single day, trips to Pebble Beach, a nice cold bud, Cape Cod, the Red Sox. You know, Frank Oppedisano loved life. And for the players in this room, make sure you know what your game is. Make sure you do. The only mistake I ever saw Frank make, he wanted to be Bobby Darin and sing Mac. It's one of his greatest frustrations. He wanted to sing Mac the Knife. It's the only thing I ever saw Frank fail at. The unfortunate part about it, with you with him, you got the whole karaoke. But a man of this extraordinary ability to mold young people, to teach young people, to have an incredible family. He was special. I've been very fortunate over the last 50-something years coaching hundreds and hundreds of players. He taught thousands and thousands of kids. And it's my honor today to be here. I've got to go to practice. I'm heading out in about 2 minutes. But I just want to tell you, I had to get up here because once in a while, you meet an ordinary man who's an extraordinary person and does extraordinary things. If I had left anything, what did he love? He loved life. He loved all of you. And for that, I'll be eternally grateful for having him in my life. No greater gift that have he ever given me except himself. So on behalf of me, my family, and all those guys who loved him, Frank, you're absolutely the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach Calhoun. At this time, I want to invite order and Jr. to come up to say a few words. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. First things first, on behalf of our family, we want to thank everyone who was able to share this special day with us. It means so much that you took time out of your busy lives to be here. As I look around, it's overwhelming to see all of our family, friends, his fraternity brothers and their families, his former teammates. I know it would mean everything to our dad. A big thanks to the generous donors who made this day possible. You are the reason that this became a reality. Thank you to everyone here behind the scenes at AIC for putting on such an incredible event. You could tell how much time went into it, thoughtful planning. And you know, you're the unsung heroes. Everybody who's running around here getting ice and cleaning up, and you know, we really appreciate everything that you did this morning to make this such a special day for us. Also, a special thanks to Maura Donovan. I don't know where she is, but I know that there were lots of weekly phone calls with my mother at some point, and for that, I think she definitely deserves a raise. So, just kidding, Ma. And last but not least, a big thank you to Coach Burkholder. Coach Andy, where are you? Oh, did he? A big thanks to Coach Andy for coming up with the idea of the Oppedisano locker room. I can only imagine what he would be saying about such an incredible honor. When I first heard about this, it reminded me of when he and I, both alumni of Cathedral and AIC, would get our yearly newsletter. And I would call him up and I'd say, Dad, I can't believe it. Another year you didn't get into either Hall of Fame. And he, being the humble guy that he was, would laugh and say, oh, come on, Di. I was never good enough to get into a Hall of Fame. But guess what, Dad? You were good enough to get a locker room named after you. And from now on, every player will walk into the Oppedisano locker room to get ready for practice, get ready for a game, go have a workout. And I can't see how he would want it any other way. Thank you, everybody.
I'd like to echo my sister Di and thank everyone involved in making this day possible. The most important thing to my father was family. But family to my father wasn't limited to just the traditional definition. Not just his parents or brother and sister, or his wife and 4 kids, or their spouses, or his 7 grandkids. Family most definitely included his friends, his teammates, and the many players he coached. To my father, the team was an extension of family, and the locker room was where the team came together. The locker room was where you met your new teammates for the first time, where you spent time getting to know each other, where you prepared to play that night's game, where you celebrated the victories and where you mourned the losses, where you made lifelong friends and lasting memories. That's why I think that of any honor that could have been bestowed upon him, having the locker room named after him would have been the most humbling. My father was fortunate to spend a considerable portion of his life in the locker rooms and gymnasiums. At the boys' club in Springfield when he was a kid, at Cathedral, here at AIC, and as the coach at Palmer High. The locker room was a sacred place to my father, where a bunch of individuals became a team and perhaps a family. Thank you.
And now to unveil the plaque in honor and memory of Frank Oppedisano, please welcome our current men's head basketball coach, Andy Burkholder.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to really thank everybody for being here. Lorette, thank you and your family for giving us the blessing to do this in honor of Frank. I'd like to thank all the donors that are in attendance and that are not in attendance that might see this online. We really appreciate this. We couldn't do this without your support. I'd like to thank the administrative staff here. There's a lot of people to name. I'm going to name a few. Mike Lovato really helped a lot with this. Tom Poole helped a lot with this. Mike E. over in the marketing department. When you guys see the locker room, I think you're going to be blown away with some of the stuff. And then specifically Paul Procopio, I reached out to him initially to set this up in Frank's honor, and he was the one that started calling around and reaching out to everybody. So thank you, Paul, for your support with this. Before I unveil the plaque here, I'd just like to remind you that this is now a space that our guys can really, really be proud of. Anybody that knows AIC is really about the people, okay? We don't talk about the buildings. We don't talk about, how nice this looks, how nice that looks. We talk about the people that are here and the people that we work with and the student athletes that we are able to coach. And but with that said, it is nice to have a place that you can really be proud of, and hopefully our guys, not only this team, but teams in the future can gather to build memories, to have those locker room conversations, because those of us that participated in sports know that you don't remember a lot of the scores from the games 20 years ago, right? But you have a ton of memories that you build with your teammates. So we're hoping that this is a place where a lot of that stuff can happen. We have our current team here. Everybody on our roster is here. I'm hoping that they see the importance of giving back when it's their turn, and the power in numbers, okay? A little bit goes a long way when there's a lot of people involved. And also understand that, we're honoring a man who was a good player. As Coach Calhoun said, he was like a glue guy, which, as we know, every good team needs. Every single good team needs. But he's really being honored for the man that he was, and the father and the husband, and the friend that he was. So when my guys leave our program, I hope beyond anything, they realize being a good person is the best thing to be in life, rather than the best basketball player. So with that said, is it time for me to lift up here?
Thanks, Coach. So we're going to have the first tour go down to the locker room. Family, we'll have Coach take you down. Then the rest of you, we'd love for you all to see the space. So the student athletes will be taking you down in groups of about 6 to 8, so you can get a look at the space. And again, just thank you all so much for being here today. And we truly hope we are able to honor Frank's legacy. So thank you again. Have a great day.